This is Pastor Troy. I hope you're doing well. We are wrapping up season 2, but you know what that means? The best of season 2. Here it comes. It's coming right at you in just a minute, but don't worry. We're in the studio. We're getting ready. We're getting things lined up, and very soon we'll be unveiling season 3 of On the Dock. In the meantime, you can go back, watch season 1. Check it out. It is fantastic. It's not outdated. Go catch it. And now we're in season 2, and get ready for this best of season 2 episode. You're on the dock with Pastor Troy. We were rock and roll at that on the dock there. That song was cut to you by the guys at this table. We just realized a few minutes ago, before we got rock and roll, we have all the original artists that helped put that together for On the Dock. Dustin Griffith there on keys.
Yes.
You like that? You get to hear it?
It was reliving some amazing memories.
It's a rocking song. We play it before we start here. A lot of places they just do a podcast and they would throw that in the beginning, you know, and you wouldn't even do it. You just start podcasting.
Yeah.
Here we play it because it's like we're not in the show until we feel that rhythm, you know. It gets us on the dock. We got this 100-plus-year-old cottonwood table that Ben did, the beautiful studio that he put together and Lucas put together, and my daughter did the art, and we've got you on the instrumentation to do this along with Ben and Lucas, and got just
full
incredible. Full custom job. It was so good. When he came in, the boy didn't know about Otis Redding. He didn't know On the Dock. He really didn't know the song, which is great because when we did this song, we had to get it through YouTube and Facebook and pass the RCA exempt thing. So because he didn't know the song, he just riffed what he felt. Now, the only thing I told him was that you take that West Monroe Street Apostolic stuff you got going on and you get me some Memphis in there. Give me some Memphis. You know, channel you some Memphis, get a little Elvis rock and roll in there, a little blues, and he put it in there, man. It just gets. I
hope so.
It's good, dude. It was so good that when they reviewed it, they said, well, that's a whole new piece of stuff. But underneath there, you can feel the soul of On the Dock. Otis Redding would love that. The reason I have it is because when I get to heaven, Otis only did one verse, did the whistle verse. He dies. They don't finish the verse. He goes, whistles verse 2. And the guy gets done with their live recording and says, what happened? He says, well, I haven't written verse 2 yet. We got a gig in Michigan. They jumped on a plane, went there. They died.
Wow.
And so all they had was the studio recording of verse 1, a bridge, a chorus, and a whistle verse. And that's what went number 1. When he died.
Wow.
So my goal has been when I get to heaven is I want God to bring Otis up and I want to hear verse 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You know what I do? Somebody said, what if Otis is not in heaven? I said, it's going to be real interesting. The Bible says he gives us the desires of our heart. God, can we just get him for a moment?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look across that chasm and let him play a concert one more time. I want to know verse 2 and 3. But you know, I may just say, I want Dustin Griffith and Ben, and I want them to just rip a full version of what they were playing because it's good.
We could be the background band for him to sing.
Featuring Otis
Lord,
Redding.
I'm calling for, I want Dustin on keys, you know.
Come on now.
We're going to have some church up in there.
Shabba.
So we're going to have to.
Hopefully you're not in the background, though. Right?
Yeah, hopefully. So we'll work on that. I'm trying to talk these guys that come in and do a longer version of it, so we'll have to get them back in here and do more, but we love it. Thank you for that recording, guys. We're on the dock with Pastor Troy, on the dock.org. We release podcasts every Tuesday and Thursday. Just go check it out on many of our great sites. And remember, we're all about conversations to propel your faith out of the shadows and into the deep. We have 8, good grief, 8 different platforms. Go to YouTube. We're trying to beat somebody on YouTube. We just need you to hit subscribe and like and notify and tell other people. Spotify and iTunes as well. Google Play, Facebook. While they let us, we're always in trouble with them. Roku as well, Rumble, and SermonNet. On Roku, what you got to do on your Roku TV, download the SermonNet app, look up the On the Dock with Pastor Troy channel, and get locked and loaded. It's a good way to watch us. We have 5 different social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. And we hope to add Getter to our live stream, to our feeds very soon as far as that. Right now, those are our social media sites, and they'll get you there. If you're just confused after all this, that's fine. We'll help you in a minute with that. But when you get to the spots, hit subscribe, like, hit notify, tell other people about, harass your friends, say you're not cool if you're not on the dock with Pastor Troy. We also want you to be a partner to us. We have 4 tiers of partners, 3 levels of sponsorship. If you want to be a sponsor or a friend of the program, go to Patreon site, check that out, and you can get all the details on that. And hey, we might put your coffee cup on this table. OnTheDoc.org is our website. You can find our embedded viewer, links to all of our platforms, links to my Patreon, all the details. And if you're just still confused, email us at info@onthedoc.org. Our executive producer, Donna Kranuski, will help you out with that. She will help you. So we're glad to have you here today. Great day, ready to go. Got a whole new podcast set up. We are continuing an incredible series we've been doing. My wife just knocked her drink over on the table. Get up, honey. Clean up on aisle 3.
Okay, it's just on the paper.
It's just, hey, keep it off the table. Keep it off that kind of table.
It's well
just
oral.
throw it on the floor. The carpet can take it. We just had a wreck here. Go ahead, honey. You can go clean it up if you need to.
That's fine. See anything to clean up?
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. We
no problem.
we told them we don't stop for anything. We're not stopping. Mother Beth, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
And we're gonna get you a better sippy cup. She's already got a sippy cup. That cup is brought to you by Crown Brew. They have not paid us for this one this week.
Not leak proof, by the way.
Yeah, but we're gonna get Crown Brew on here again. They've been big supporters of ours, so we'll tell them they owe us a couple more cups of coffee. Yeah, that's right. Brought to you by Crown Brew. Yeah, and are you okay with it, Ben?
Yeah, I just put it right onto my crotch. So.
Well, let's go over to Ben. Ben has Ben's using his pants. He's just dump it in the lap there.
That's the way I've always been. When in doubt, just put all the stuff onto your lap.
That's right.
And it'll sop it up.
Let me just say, Ben is my co-host. That's where I'm at. Low budget. Can you say low budget?
Oh,
you give him some free tea and coffee.
That's awesome.
Yeah, low budget. Yeah, that's where we're at. We got Lucas Winkler. Lucas, I didn't go get your graphic again. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I forgot to throw you in. Your techno wizard, our executive director today, Lucas Winkler. He is the craftsman.
Man, he looks good.
He looks good too.
Yeah.
You just can't see him in that gray T-shirt of his. It's just something.
It's always good.
Yeah, USA lost yesterday, but they won. I've never seen the game. I watched the end of it. I was watching the end of it, and they lost, but it was like it's like they let them win.
Yeah, they played terribly.
They chose to let them win, no, didn't they? Yeah, it's kind of weird things like we're going to were they Croatia or something like that? It had CZ. Yeah, Costa Rica. They let them win or something, and then because they were so far ahead, that's what happens. But in football, we never let that happen unless you're going to get a better draft pick at the end of the season. You're already bad. So sometimes we do that. Hey, we're here on the dock with worship leader of Southern Illinois series. It's our season 2. How do we say it? Super series. Super. If you haven't watched Wilderness Cooking, go watch Wilderness Cooking on YouTube. I'm promoting him. I'm going to send them a bill for all our promotions.
Agreed.
Yeah, I need a bill.
Yeah, no.
Hey, Bill. We're on the set here for part 1 of one of our sub episodes. We're featuring Dustin Griffith from West Monroe's Apostolic Church. Waymack.
Yes.
That's good. Good to have you here. We get a good picture. Look at it. Look at this picture. Look at the hair on this dude. The hair, the beard is just right. The guy's a professional barber. I mean, you can tell he's got product on there. He looks good. He'll make you look good.
Yeah. That's the goal.
We're gonna get you back for Berg's Barber, but y'all gonna pay for that. So
yeah,
no,
that's all right.
We're gonna get you back. We'll do some sort of trade. You have to cut Lucas's hair 5 times. Something like that.
He's got 5 free haircuts with me.
Has he already?
He's not been spending them, so the next 6 or 7 are all free. So
Well, gee whiz.
But already giving back.
My hair is too hard to cut. I only got already got a minister cutting my hair. I mean, keep my hair levels. I got a crooked head, so to keep it level is tough. So we got Dustin with us here from West Monroe. Dustin, just glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we got him here. We used him to get a track out of him, and now we're going to get him here and talk to him about what he really does.
That's what I really wanted.
Yeah, what you really want. Well, tell us where you're serving currently, and just a little bit about where your church family, kind of mission vision. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm at West Monroe Apostolic Church in Herrin, Illinois.
Would that be on West Monroe Street?
It is on West Monroe Street.
I appreciate that when a church is where they say they are. You get churches today and they go, I'm West Monroe, and they've got the new campus out someplace, on Park Avenue. They are still where they've been as long as I've known where they are.
Shout out to Greg McCool, wrote a song a long time ago, 11 blocks off of Main at the end of the road.
Really?
There's a Pentecost church down on West Monroe.
It's
Organ.
and let me say, I left here in '89 to go to. I started pastoring in '89 at Culp and Energy. That's when I got called by the Lord. I started pastoring. Your dad, Terry Griffith, was the pastor then, right? Right.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. So
He just this would be his 26th year.
yeah. But he was
the assistant.
He was
before
assistant
that.
then,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, right. He was assistant in those days, and because he would be at Minister Alliance meetings, he was somebody there, and so I went to seminary, came back, and he's still around now. He's got his kids preaching. I came back. The dude's like an Energizer bunny.
Yeah.
Your dad's an Energizer bunny. I know, and he's taking on everything, but he's just tough. He could be like a Stepford preacher. He's probably something mechanical in there. Something's wound up in there.
We believe that.
Yeah, I believe it. And your mom's cut from the same. Your mom's tougher than all of y'all.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
she's
Mama's
really she's the backbone.
We really know that. We understand that. It's not in my case. Mother Beth has no influence on me. I'm not scared of her at all. Watch out. One eye like that all night long.
You're about to get Will Smith over
Yeah,
there.
Will Smith. Hey, I'll tell you right
Gave
now.
the same look.
She won't Will Smith me. She'll close those hands. That little slap business. That was she's tougher than that. Huh? She hit me with a skillet.
Yeah.
She'll bring some iron to the fight. She get in that.
She doesn't need protecting, as Will said.
If she gets to that purse, there's 357 reasons why I'm going to be in trouble. So you got to get some running. Yeah, let me just tell you.
Yep.
Mama's packing, and Mama can shoot better than I can. Her pistol. So,
That's good to know.
no, I'm just telling you, she can shoot.
Be careful.
For me, you got to wait for the laser dot to catch up. Mama doesn't need it. Mm-hmm. She just lays down cover fire. She's got a cannon. She reminds me of the old grandma from Every Which Way But Loose that comes out with that cannon. It's an old movie from a long time ago. She came out just shooting at those bikers. Boom, boom. I love that. Yeah, God forbid
awesome.
if you ever try to jack my wife. Golly.
Okay, move on.
Move on.
He's just so proud of you.
I am proud of you. You're tough. So you're from West Monroe Street Apostolic Church.
Yeah.
Been down there for a while. Tell us a little bit about the mission and vision of West Monroe Apostolic Church.
Yeah. Well, this year we're kind of going by the mission to know, to grow, and to go. And so West Monroe, we just actually a couple years ago celebrated our 100th year as a church, and something really special happened the week. I would say, actually, it was probably about 3 months before. We were doing some planning. We were really excited to have this, celebration of 100 years and what God's done and all of that. We were meeting up at a local restaurant, and that day, the back half of our church had caved in.
Oh no!
We had a bunch of, and we had been talking about redoing it and rebuilding, and we were like, we need to wait through the 100, and because it's one for nostalgia, and two just because we've got to put on this 100th event, and it was just really discouraging, and it was kind of like here we are trying to celebrate, and there's all that kind of stuff is happening, and I'll never forget the Spirit of God moved in that restaurant, and a gentleman there gave us a word that the Lord was saying, I want to build a house. You guys, this is not a celebration of what you have done. This is a celebration of what I'm going to do. And so he basically came in and wrecked our plans. And what we realized in that moment was that we had been so focused on who we were and what we were doing.
Right.
And he was like, I'm wanting to do a new thing in you. And I can honestly tell you at that event, the amount of, for lack of a better word, backsliders, the amount of people that were there that came back. Well, we started having revival. Families, every week there were new families that hadn't been there in 30 years, hadn't been any church in 30 years. And God was trying to say, I just want you to remember that you did nothing. This is me. I have upheld this whole time, this church, this body. And the story of the church is an amazing story. But in that extra part of the story, we realized, man, we have. It's not about us. It's not about what we can build or who we are or what we've been. It's about what he wants to do. And that mantra, I guess, has been, we've used that for the last 2 years. It's totally changed the the face of what we're doing and our mindset of what we're doing, and realizing we have to decrease so he can increase. And that's been it's been crazy, because I know for me it was a personal mind shift, and I think every one of the leaders that were there, and we have actually seen real action since that.
It's almost like church history is important because the Bible's full of history.
Yeah.
We've got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, all tells us about the stories. But I was teaching the other day in Micah in our church. And when you look at Micah is a prophecy. Yeah, he prophesies about the Syrian fall, the Babylonian fall. He talks about Bethlehem and Jesus coming from Bethlehem. But then he talks about the coming days and the last days.
Yeah.
And when you realize 3 out of 4 of those things in our time have happened, but the last part of Micah, we're in the story.
Yeah.
There is history in the Bible. It's good. Our history of our church is great.
Yeah.
History of your church is incredible. But I think what God wakes us up sometime and says, I'm not done writing the story.
Right.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Right.
That's a great thing. Let's celebrate the Passover and remember, but that's one day.
Right.
Then they have a harvest festival another day, and then they have the Festival of Booths another day. That's 3 days.
Yeah.
But for the rest of they took 7 each for those. So 21. So the rest of the year, let's turn the turret around, get the tractor moving, and let's push forward. And that sounds like you guys have had kind of almost a historical rebirth.
Yes.
Honor your past.
Yeah.
But then what's next?
It was. It was.
good.
So did you get the building fixed?
we tore it down.
Praise the Lord.
And I actually just met with my brother the other night. We were they're going in. We're kind of at the last prep stage of starting the new building. We've had we've got a ton done around the church, but the next thing is that. And he was like, "So what do you absolutely need for this youth chapel that we're gonna do?" And I'm like, "I need you to call Lucas Winkler and figure out what we need the room to look like. Don't talk to me, but don't build it without talking to someone like him."
Knows what they're doing first.
Yeah, because our sanctuary was built without any opinion of any musical person whatsoever.
And for those of you who don't know, West Monroe Apostolic Church has got phenomenal worship, phenomenal music, incredible choir, incredible band. They can rip it. They can rip it.
Appreciate that.
And I just want to tell you, because you've been here playing with us before. We've played together.
Yeah.
We just know that. I can't imagine the fact that you all built that sanctuary and the kind of level of worship that you guys have, and that wasn't a factor in your equation in those days.
My grandfather was the pastor at that time. My mom says it all the time, that he just didn't. It wasn't even. They built this choir loft. It's the worst built choir loft ever for sound, and it's just it. I think it was originally built to be a gym. Like their goal, they were growing, and they were like, "We'll build this. It'll be a gym, and then we'll build a bigger."
So this is your family from the past.
Yes.
Well, the good thing is the Griffiths learning. They got a learning curve.
Right.
So your next facility is going to have a Winkler stamp on it, and if you do that, you're well off. Trust me. Yeah. Winkler wished he'd gotten in this room before we rebuilt this room.
Right.
He was not a part. We redid our sanctuary before Winkler got here, and while there's some good things done, he has had to spend a lot of time retro in that back. I wish he'd been a part of that. We did some good things, but we just missed the boat on some things.
Yeah.
So.
And it happens.
I'm going to we will be sending Winkler a partnership form for on the dock. He can also.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's great. So you got a process going on. Let me throw this up on your church real quick. There's Terry.
Yeah.
Is he preaching or is he singing? What?
He is singing right there.
Well, what's he singing?
That's from the 100th, and it would have sounded something like, "If you're owned by this world in all its beauty." That's exactly.
Now,
what he's singing
do you
right
have
there.
to come in and accompany him?
Oh yeah,
Or you got to get in behind him?
There's about 50 people in the choir loft.
I know.
behind him.
That's crazy. They've got more people in their choir loft than most people have in their church. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I love it.
That's from the 100th.
Do you have to turn around and preach most of the time so you can talk to the people that are in the choir too?
Well, usually when I'm preaching, there's not that many people there.
They don't come for you, right? Yeah,
So-
yeah, the kid's preaching, gone. We can go to McDonald's early, honey.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yep.
Yeah. Your dad's a preaching machine.
love him.
He's still going? He's still preaching occasionally?
Yeah, he was supposed to preach last Sunday, and Spirit did something else, but he told me afterwards. He said I almost shut it down because people need to hear this. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I know. We'll get to
know.
that. We're going to get to that question in episode
Right.
number 2 when we talk about my worship pastor and what he did to me a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
These
excited.
worship pastors can just sabotage you as a senior pastor. Brother Griffin, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel your pain. Sometimes you just got to let the Spirit roll. Though your dad's smart enough to get out of the way. I'm just barely smart enough. I was going to get in the way and pull the boy down, but then my wife grabbed me and said, "Let him go. He's anointed." And she was right. My wife was right.
He has done that. There have been times where things have happened. I've got stories like that for days.
Oh, Ben would get out of the way if I was serious. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
he was anointed the other day, so I just messing with him. I love you. Like an old,
love you.
like a
I feel
parasite.
the anointment.
Yeah, I feel the anointing.
The anointment.
Yeah. Sunday school. You guys got Sunday school at 9:30. You guys still do Sunday school?
We do.
Praise God.
Well,
Pastor
so
Chris.
even for us, like there's. I think most people are glad that we're not doing Sunday night anymore.
Praise the Lord.
consistently.
Y'all be tired.
There's a hint of us that are like we still struggle with it. It was our best.
You feel guilty.
Not even guilty. It's like it's our best service. Like I'm not coming in wiped out. I'm a night out. So Sunday morning, I'm like,
ditch the
Sunday night, I'm like,
ditch the Sunday morning and go to Sunday night
that we talked about it
and just do a big Sunday school.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
This is all in flux, but
I think a church could make a killing on a killer Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll come out and sell barbecue in the parking lot.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah, we have some.
I
We
love
bring
it.
our donkey.
Yeah.
We do one a month. The very first Sunday of a month, we do a Sunday
And
night.
Wednesday night, 7:00, you do service as well.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to go WMAC1.org, that's our website, email address there, Facebook site. Check it out. Get out there and go to church with them. And we're always trying to steal people from the church. His brother Jordan's one of the pastors there. He's up and coming, preaching regularly, and he's a phenomenal drummer. We are trying to get him and cage him here. You know, we've offered to like we're gonna lock him in the drum cage and like we would like beam him in for the message or something like that. So you just need to be careful letting Jordan come in our building. And anytime he could be kidnapped. He's probably here if you miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, like,
Hey, it's all right.
we'll feed him.
He's in my van right now.
He's in your van right now. He is a phenomenal. Ben just talks about him. He's a good drummer. Anybody?
Oh, gosh.
Golly, he's in the Cedar sessions. We saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
So
is.
check out that. They've got a phenomenal team there. Go check it out. And gosh, I don't care who's preaching there. It's going to be good stuff. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about just shutting down here and coming out there next week.
Come.
We're ready.
I'm preaching the 24th.
Don't joke about
so
that.
You're
don't
preaching
come
the
that
20th.
time.
Don't come over. Okay. So here we got a couple pictures here. Just throw these up real quick. Got you guys at the Cedar session. That's good. We talked about that. We've got a great episode on that. Check that out. That's featuring Daniel Lopez. Check that out. And we'll talk more about that. And these guys are doing some incredible collective ministry with the various great worship leaders in our area. Also, you're married, right?
Yes.
You're not single. You're not dating. Well, you could
Not
be
at
dating and
all.
married. Just
Well,
always,
yeah.
you better be dating her. We got problems.
We are going on dates.
We are going on dates.
sometimes.
That's a good thing. And you got now this baby in the right and the baby over here is the same baby in the middle. So the
It
baby's
is.
getting older. So what's your baby's name?
Her name is Anya Marie.
Anya, I like that's pretty. Anya Marie. That's very
Yeah.
pretty. Very pretty.
Yeah, it's got a cool story.
And your wife's
with that,
Kaylee,
too.
right?
Yeah, Kaylee.
Kaylee, you guys look happily married. Good grief.
Yeah.
Where's she from?
She's from Herrin. When I moved off and went to Bible school, I was in a lot better shape than I am now, and I remember thinking, I was exploring the world,
Right.
as I traveled and sang everywhere, and I always remember thinking, I'm not going to meet a girl that's going to want to come back to Southern Illinois, and at the time I felt like. I was just,
if you Shanghai him, they have to. You just hit him on the head, you
Well-
drag him back, just like we did your brother Jordan. He's
Right.
he's a community.
Right. And,
Right.
and it just, I was like, there's no way it's going to happen. And then when I moved home, we were actually neighbors, didn't know it. She did move. So when I finally met her, we were no longer neighbors. But the fact that she's the one
She's
telling
been
me
right there in your neighborhood the whole time?
the entire time.
And you didn't even know it?
Yeah. She knew my brother like 5-6 years before she knew me.
Wow.
So they went to school together. I married a little younger. But
That's okay. I got my wife from DeCoin. I mean, she's the last good woman to come out of DeCoin. I mean, it's been a while now. They still haven't produced anything else in a while. I got her from there. I would have never. I had to leave Williamson County to find a wife. You know, but what's weird is we've had the Lopez's in here. They married girls just right from their community too.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some gyms here.
Right.
I mean like gyms. We got too many gyms now. Everybody's building a gym.
Yeah.
But there's some great Christian women are in this community.
Which is super.
God hides them from us,
Yeah.
or it would have messed you up. You wouldn't have gone.
Oh.
You wouldn't have gone and done your stuff.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Isn't that a whole? That is
It's a whole nother
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
But it is cool because I think people from it's amazing. People from here. Even if they move away, you know, because I sit in the barbershop all day. I talk to people all the time. I can't wait to get out of here. Can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
But then in 10, 15 years, they come back.
I did too.
Yeah.
We left and we decided to come back, and there's a lot of things I don't like about it, but I still know everybody, and everybody knows our family, and you know, golly.
Yeah, and your husband preached a message, or your husband, your son.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's okay.
Your son preached a message.
I thought you were blaming Beth.
Your
husband.
Few years ago, and then I told him I stole it from him, but talking about this region, and it was eye opening. Talking about, you know, this such a beautiful. He was talking the passage right after Elisha gets the mantle, and he goes, you know, the people of that area. I can't remember the city, but he said that the land is plentiful and beautiful, but the water is poisoned.
Yeah, that's a true statement for her.
Yeah, and he said, you know, he said, go get salt, which is the old thing, the thing that the truth, the thing that, you know, it preserves us, it keeps us, but put it in a new bowl. And he talked about taking what the truth of God and putting it in, you know, kind of freshening up to save this area. And it was such a powerful message. I stole it and I preached it in my church, and it was awesome.
Well, I have a better chance of getting you to come preach it here again than I do get my own son to come here and preach it.
Hey,
he's busy preaching and stuff like that. I may have to have you come do that.
Absolutely. It's powerful.
It fit what you're sharing. I think really fits for me. It's a beautiful area. We've got incredible resources in the area. We've really got good people that have a heart for God in general. We're in a terrible state. It's the state itself is oppressive down on us.
Yeah.
If we could be set free from that demon of not loving the Lord and the things that would help us. But we have also got we've got. I mean, we're far enough south that people can just think of Jesus, and there's a little bit of church in everybody.
Yeah.
But we're also just. I mean, we're stale. There's some history here. We need to repent of some things in the past, from things that have been done, and some people are a little hardened by all the church stuff and this stuff and that stuff. We need to get that fresh water in a bowl, put a little salt in it, and we need some sweet water back in here.
And I asked a guy in our barbershop, I was cutting his hair, and that he's a military guy, been all over the country. And I asked him this because I've always wondered, and my mom told me this when she moved here from Michigan back in the day. It was this exact same thing. She said, I've never felt it anywhere else. But, you know, I lived in St. Louis for a couple years, but I've never lived.
We lived in the metro too.
Yeah. I've never lived in a small rural community outside of here for an extended period of time. And I asked him the question, I said, and I said, is kind of this area's, you know, it feels like that this area a lot of times and Marion's a good example of trying to break out of this, but
they're making a move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to stifle new things.
Marion was in the gutter. Marion was in the gutter, worse than Herrin. Herrin's now the gutter community, and they're trying to push out.
Right.
No, they were. Johnson City was gone. Johnson City property values are skyrocketing right now.
Yeah.
Marion's taking off. Herrin's now got to catch up.
Yeah.
It's changing.
And I said, do you feel like just kind of that notion where, you know, we want everything cheap, we want you know, like just I really think it's a spirit.
I totally agree.
And I asked him, and he said, I've never felt it since moving here. No, there's no other places, even rural communities. They're like, you know, something comes into the city that's like more progressive, and what they're like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome, that may help us. And here it's like, no one will ever go there, you know, those kind of things. But I think that carries over spiritually as well.
I do too. I think it affects our churches and how they deal and stuff. And I also see we're starting to see the craft businesses, the craft barbers, the craft coffee shops. We're hoping soon to have craft barbecue.
Yeah.
Other things that you're going to see coming here.
Right.
You've got people like Lucas doing craft thinking about building a church and thinking about the sound shape of it before you build it is a craftsmanship work.
Yeah.
You're beginning to see that, what you guys are doing with the cedar sessions. We're talking about craft worship. We're talking about training each other and inspiring each other to a new level of Levitical worship.
Right.
You know, we're seeing stuff start to root here because I don't think the old bowl can handle it anymore.
Right. And I think
agree.
going back to what you're talking about with the wives, the reason I even brought it up to bring us around is that I think it was so important for some of us, our younger generation, to marry in this area so that they're invested in this area.
I totally agree.
You know what I mean? And
no,
so,
I'm tickled that they have. I'm inspired by it. And,
Yeah.
and it helps me understand how God's starting to root in this movement that started your sessions. And we're talking about doing some collective evangelism as a group of leaders and stuff here. And I just see I see hope.
Yeah.
I see hope.
Me too.
It is a dark time here, but I see hope.
Amen.
I see the ability for it to pierce it. Let me ask you, tell us a little bit about you. How did you come to Christ? Were you forced to do it? Did your dad order it? Did your mom demand it? Did they threaten to peg leg you or something? I mean, what did they just chop your leg off if you don't? Did you run away and go do bad things and cut yourself and do tattoos? How did you become a Christian? How did your parents' faith become? Has it become your faith?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, and you know, it's just funny because
Well, I would be scared to tell my mom I'm not a Christian if I had
Right.
your mama pray you into a coma.
I had a best friend. This is the best thing I could ever.
I say, yeah, mama, I'm a Christian. You know, yeah, mama, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You know, the question is, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd take you out.
A really good friend of mine who was another pastor's kid in this community said to me, and it's best encapsulated. He said, if I had the raising that you had, I'd still want to be involved in ministry too.
That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's really good to say.
And to me, that's better than anything I could say. Like,
Yeah.
my family taught me to love it. They didn't force it. They really did not force it. And we grew up like that's all we wanted to do.
Did you get tortured as a preacher's kid?
No. And maybe that's part of it.
I don't think Josh got tortured too much. He had moments of it occasionally where he'd watch me get tortured. You know, but
Yeah, I don't think they
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
they-
I mean, and
that's why they love the Lord. I
Yeah,
think.
and I want to say, and I'll say this, I don't know that I've ever said it, but publicly, if anybody from West Monroe is listening, we were so blessed, me and Jordan, and then my cousin lived with us for a while, Michael. I don't know that I've ever seen pastors' kids treated better by their church.
I love that.
I
Praise God.
felt so comfortable. I remember sharing when I came home from Bible school. I was not where I needed to be with the Lord, but I was up leading and traveling, and I felt the Lord basically asked me to give a testimony that I had not gotten through yet. I was dealing with, just living in sin, and I didn't question, should I do this here? A lot of people would be like, that's my home people. I don't want to admit.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a question because I knew they would pick me up.
You trusted them
Yeah.
enough to be able to lay it out.
I have been so loved through life.
They weren't going to use it against you in a court of law. You knew they were going to build you up.
Right.
That speaks highly
Yeah.
of your church family.
Yeah.
And
If we could do more, most churches just we kill our wounded and then we don't even bury them.
Yeah.
We put them up in effigy so people can remember. We hang their bodies.
Well, and we've joked about it. I've told them before. I said, when I see some of the missional things you guys do, that's where we're not as, we need to be a little more, and we are missional, but like we don't hold a candle. I said, but for our internal family, I've been a part, I've traveled, seen churches. I've never been a part of anything like it. There's a family there that, like I said, sometimes can be a little too family.
Yeah, I got you.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
I got you.
we're very, and so I honestly, I had no other, I even when I was not, doing as I should, I knew, I've never questioned God. I've never anything. I knew, there was no falling away from me. I may
great.
live in sin, but I knew, I knew I need to get back.
You knew eventually you were coming back.
Yeah, 'cause it
it
just-
was not ever left. It didn't
Yeah.
ever leave.
That is
To
fantastic.
specifically answer your question, I remember when I was 7 years old, there was an evangelist who came, and he preached. It was the day after my birthday, February 20th, right after my 7th birthday. I was filled with God's Spirit, and I tell this story. I think it may just be in my mind. You're super excited, but he went and got me a cookie cake that said "Happy Birthday" twice, and and that cookie cake, I swear, I ate on it every day. I probably gained 30 pounds from it, and it lasted for like 5 months. So I think it was a supernatural cookie cake.
Hey, it was like the man. It was like the manna.
It was.
It was manna.
It was a really special thing. He was, and so it was when I was 7. That's when I gave my life to the Lord. And,
That's cool.
And yeah, ever since then, I really.
Well, let me say this to you. Don't feel the pressure to do what we do. Let's just do what we do together.
Yeah.
Like we'll be there with you. We're going to create mission opportunities where we can strategize together, and we're glad to just share in that. You take any foot rungs you want with us, and we want to learn about how to be a healthier church family from you guys, and to do what you guys do. 100. We've been around. This church has been around just about 40 years now. So if we can, you can be our example of how to get to 100. And we'll take that. I'll run with that. All day long. I respect your dad with greatness. So, and your family.
That.
So
we feel that about you.
And what I like about it, very few people. We have an incredible working relationship with West Monroe. I was there praying for students. They were leading prayer for students in our schools. 35 years ago, I was coming to stuff like that, and I've been doing it. When I got back, that's the first thing I came to do. When I moved back in this community, it was my first thing in the community. I did the ball knob cross, and then when we got in the fall, the first thing I got asked was by Terry if I'd come lead the prayer for students going back to school. And I left a Methodist preacher and came back an independent preacher, and he loved me both sides of that. And there's good reason not to or to, but I've always been a man of God, and I can always see that in Terry, and I just love the fact that he has a heart for this community and the students of this community, and the fact that they would demonstrate that even with their own student being you, one of the preacher's kids, shows me that's authentic and deep. That's deep. And
I'm blessed.
We need churches with that. We need churches like us. We put them all together. We'll kick the devil's butt plumb out of here eventually.
Amen.
We're going to have revival here. I believe it. Let me ask you real quick before I get to the heart of the question for this. Tell me about this real quick. Lee Marie, you just did this.
Yeah.
The LeeMarieBand.com. Tell us what's going on with all this.
Yeah. So for my entire life, I've wanted to make music, and probably, as these guys around me know, my biggest struggle is wanting to make music. It's both a blessing and a curse. But and when I met my wife, I always say that when I first saw her, I was like, I need to date this woman. When I heard her sing, I was like, I have to marry her. And so, and the first night I met her, she got out her guitar and started playing and singing. I was like, what is this? And so.
She's a musician too.
Girl's got pipes.
Yeah. She's got pipes too. Yeah, I've heard her sing. Yeah.
And
hey, if she had come home one night, she could be here with Jordan.
Right.
Yeah, we take her too.
Yeah, she's actually in the van as well.
Have you seen the movie Taken? Yes. It's what's that? Does she play drums too?
I'm sure she could learn.
She can keep a beat.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take it.
But
she's gifted too. You're so blessed.
But yeah, so and I've wanted to do a project with her for a while. She's like, she could care less. Nothing on here is. She's just like, yeah, I'll sing with you. I'll make you happy. And so this is. But we put out about 4 songs with helper brother Ben. He co-wrote one of my songs. So we've just been putting out music. We got another one. I just got sent a mix today. So
and you can go find they're available on this website. You can
LeeMarieBand.com, and it's on there. It's got links to all the music, all of the socials, Spotify, iTunes, everything. all of the
everything
distributing places.
Yeah, okay.
That place.
Fantastic. Go check it out. Just phenomenal ministry there. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you guys have just recently done an event. You did an event, right? Right. Fantastic.
Yeah, I will say July 16th, because I think this will be coming out
maybe
later.
If not, they can go watch it on YouTube.
Right. If it hasn't already happened, when you're listening to this, July 16th, we're opening up for We Are Messengers.
Oh, really? That's incredible.
So yeah, come out and see us.
Maybe they'll be able to live stream it, even if it's after the fact. They'll be able to catch it and stuff.
Yeah.
We just want to follow you and see what you're doing and all that stuff. Heck, we're excited.
You can cut all that out if
no, we won't cut it out. It doesn't matter what the date is. People can go. If you do anything today, present or past, it's like there.
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
we had a guy at this table, one of the worship leaders. He was on American Idol in 2015. I can find his clips.
Yeah.
Everything today is just out there.
It is, yeah.
I mean, like the Cedar sessions. You can go watch those Cedar sessions, and they're great. Hey, let me get to the heart of our question. We've got about a few minutes left. We'll be running out of time for this episode, but we're going to go much deeper. But we want to get to the big question for this episode.
Yeah.
And the big question for us is, for you as a worship leader and somebody that champions worship for West Monroe, for you, what, and you can give us the process, the spiritual, whatever, but for you, when you think of the heart of worship, getting your people, yourself, the church back to the heart of worship, how would you define that? What does that look like for you, the heart of God, the heart of worship?
And it, not to be too, I don't know, I won't even preface it, but for me, truly, is the heart of worship is when everything about me is destroyed and he's lifted up. And that's not in music, that's in everything. And so it starts with me, I said it earlier, decreasing so he can increase. That's worship. And we can worship a lot of things, but he is so amazing and so great that the only proper worship that I can give, like I can't even properly worship him, but the most proper worship is literally emptying myself out, where there's zero of me. And so it has to start there, because me giving him 70%, me keeping 30%
Yeah.
isn't good enough. And so to me, that is worship. Like, and I know people say things like that a lot, but really in the last couple of years, and it's the biggest struggle I have in life, is getting rid of myself. And I had a guy in my church say this to me. He said the hardest scripture you'll ever have to deal with in the Bible is where, you know, David talked in Psalms, and he said to lean not on your own understanding.
Yeah.
He said, because in that, every morning when you wake up, if you roll over, check your phone, whatever you do, you don't even think about it. You know, you get up, put on your clothes, however, whatever your routine is, it's just habit. He said, that's your own understanding. And Scripture says to lean not to that, but in all your ways, acknowledge him. And, you know, I think, and then just quickly, if you go back and look at in the Genesis account, and I've been studying this lately. I know you've heard me say this 7,000 times, but when you think about the one temptation Satan had in the garden to give man, to cause the downfall of man, if he had one, and he had all that time to think about it, what was that temptation? It was the knowledge of good and evil. It was being able to make our own decisions and not follow the voice of the Lord.
That's really good.
To be
Really
our
good,
own
really
God.
Yeah.
And every time I sin, every time I fall short, it is because I'm trying to be my own God. I'm trying to increase. I want to make my own decisions. I want to make it about me. I want all the glory, whatever it is. And so to me, worship is restoring garden relationship and saying, it is whatever your word says. Whatever you say to me, I'm doing. And in turn, that bleeds in when I'm on stage, I have to completely be emptied out. And when I'm talking to somebody and reaching out to people, I have to be emptied out. And it is a daily struggle for me.
Yeah, that's
It is
really good.
In the last couple of years,
Because that's exhausting.
Oh,
That's an
exhausting.
exhausting process to do that, to empty yourself. It's a renewing process to refill yourself.
Yeah.
But the risk of emptying yourself, there's always in that background going, you won't have enough for something else, or
Right.
the devil's telling you you're going to be dry, you know. There's a challenge there.
But that is worship, and I think if you just apply that to everything you do, then it is worship. Whether it's business, whether it's worship, whether it's church
that.
ministry, if I can just empty myself out, then I can properly, because I can't give more than 100%, but if 100% is all I have, I need to give it to him, and that's the best worship I can give.
I'm going to give you a free preaching examples, because you got to preach on the 24th. You ready?
Yeah.
I've done a lot of coaching and sports coaching, and over the years I've coached for about 20 years, and I got a chance to speak with SIU and football teams. I've done a lot of chaplain stuff. one of the best examples in the Bible of that just changes my heart is when David is sitting with his great warriors outside of Bethlehem, and they're exhausted from the battle and the assault to try to get Jerusalem. And he's talking about late after they've been battling, and he's laying there. They're, like warriors would do, dreaming about the good times, in they're sleeping on the ground and all this stuff. And he said, I just dream of that sweet water from that well at Bethlehem, Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm dreaming of that. And he goes to bed, like the warriors do after they've hung out by the fire too much, knowing that tomorrow they're going to fight again.
Yeah.
And his 3 greatest warriors get up and they fight their way overnight into Bethlehem. And they go to that well. And when he wakes up the next morning, they present to him.
Wow.
I mean, they slaughtered people to get to that well. And they bring him that cup of water, that full cup of water, and just say, David, we brought it for you. That's guys that love you.
Yeah.
I mean, they went and got it,
Right.
And he gets the water, and I'm always stymied because he takes the water. I wish I could quote the text right now. But he takes the water, and the guys present it to him, and then he says, I love you guys. You guys have given me something so precious that all I can do with this is he pours it out to the Lord as an offering. He pours it out on the ground and says, this is sacred. You've given your blood and your sweat and your tears for me, and I'm not worthy to drink this. And he gives it as an offering to God, as a poured out offering. And I'm sitting there like, part of me is like, how dare you?
Do you have any idea what I did for that water?
And then part of me is like, whoa. The thing you desired most, you gave out. You showed your men that actually their love for you was greater than that cup was.
Right.
And he pours that out. And I have shared that as a football thing and told guys, pour everything you got, pour it out.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is, whatever God's put in you, I want to give it back to him here. And I know what I've got's not enough. The water wasn't enough. His men had given him something far more precious.
Yeah.
I just use the illustration. Hey, you can preach that. Don't have to quote me.
Hey,
That dog will hunt.
You just may have changed my message.
I know. But when you were sharing that, what I was seeing was the power in when we take what we have and we give it back to God completely. And look what God did for David in his kingdom. They gave him everything.
Absolutely.
Trust the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. In all his ways.
Yeah.
Psalm 119, I got to quote the rest of the text. If you'll find that text for me, I appreciate it. Psalm 119, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will guide your paths.
Yeah.
That's a risky, it feels risky today to pour it out, but what you're saying is that's the only transaction that can really matter.
Right.
I love it because what you said here, it's really all I have. That's mine.
All I have.
It's all I have.
And it's his anyway, because he bought it with his blood.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more thing. We're getting long here, but let me just ask you if you because this kind of wraps up this second piece of this question. What would be your base principle if I love this. This is your definition of getting the heart of worship, emptying. How would you prepare your people? Somebody coming in, they're going to worship with you. You're the leader. You're bringing them before God. How would you equip them to get ready to get in that game, to do that emptying? What would be 1 or 2 or 3 things you would say as you get ready to enter the field of worship?
Yeah.
How would you help them get ready? What would you have them strap on? What would you have them do?
In thinking of this, it's
To be ready to do this.
Yeah. And I'm not good at this. I think, obviously, man, you bringing that scripture, there's a minister that came into town, was doing some tent revivals, and I don't think it's ever been done better. So I'm just I don't do this. I need to do this, but he was bringing he was going to have a tent revival in the middle of Carbondale, in the worst part of Carbondale. And he just asked any church leaders that wanted to come, and a lot of people came. And I remember in that meeting, I thought we were going there for him to tell us this is what we're going to be doing. And all he did, because he's from out of town, and I'm sure there was a lot of people, and I'm sure in me there was something like, I need to go see if this is legit, and if not, I'm not going to be a part of it. He walked into that room, and then he said, he talked for maybe 10 minutes, and then he got out a bowl and water and a washcloth, and he said, if you don't mind, I want to wash every one of your feet.
Wow.
And he did. And you talk about a spirit of worship that hit those leaders. Broken. And he prayed and laid hands on everyone. There was probably 25 churches from Mount Vernon to Cairo, like all in there, and he didn't have to do that, but he did that. And you talking about spawning a spirit of worship. Now, obviously, I don't have time to do that every service before service, but honestly, I think what your scripture you brought out with David, like it just clicked in me just now, really to do that is to love people, show them, pour yourself out to them and say, let me go around and pray for you. I'm going to pray for each one of you. There's nothing that brings people closer to the heart of God. I mean, he gave, in the New Testament, he said, all the commandments rest on the two, to love God and love your neighbor, love your brother and sister, and as yourself. And what do we need? What do I need? I need to be loved. I need to be encouraged. And so I don't even think it starts with like, hey man, that guitar solo was awesome. It's more like, I'm just praying for you and I love you. Those moments, I can get out on stage and do anything if I have had somebody walk up to me and bless me.
So what you're saying is the prep phase for you is to come in with the attitude to love people.
Yeah.
Come in ready to love people, and then to pour yourself out both to people and to God, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, and in essence, that would make you an empty bowl. Then you could receive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you could really,
and I can't take total credit. Your scripture just made me think of that.
No, I just said
I'm going to need to shift my.
Well,
whole
no,
focus.
you started with when you said everything about me is destroyed. When everything about me is destroyed and lifted up, then you're kind of at the point where you've offered something you can really offer. It's your life.
Yeah.
And what David recognized in pouring the water out was the gift wasn't in the water. The gift was in those men that had poured their lives out. They had risked everything. That's
amazing.
And he honored God with it because, to be loved like that, to know people love you so much that you would do that. He was saying, I'm not worthy to drink that. He said, I'll deny myself too.
Yeah.
And I love it. And that's why David's men fought for David the way they fought for him. That's why when he became king and had to march out of the city when his own son took him over, those men marched out with him.
Yeah.
They left everything with him.
Yeah.
And then they came back in with him. So God will be with you when you do that.
Amen.
This has been powerful. We're nowhere near done with this. This is part one, but we're gonna get a lot deeper in this. Man, you got a little depth on you, man.
I mean,
don't let anybody
The Lord.
don't let anybody fool you there. We're having a great time with this. We'll be back in part 8, which is actually part 2 of this sub-series with Dustin Griffith from West Monroe Apostolic Church. We'll be checking that out. So I'm glad you're here with us on the dock. And you can always find us at onthedock.org. And you can get more information with emailing us at info@onthedock.org. Find one of our 8 platforms to watch us on. We prefer YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes, but you're welcome to use any of those auxiliary platforms as well as our 5 social media sites. Please, if you would, when you find them, hit subscribe, hit like, notify, and tell people all about it. And make sure you do that. And I want to remind you, don't forget to go check out West Monroe Apostolic Church, Sunday School 9:30, Sunday worship 10:30, Wednesdays at 7. Check out their website, get information on that. Go see them cut loose. It'll be a great experience for you. We want you to get out there and do that. And you can always become a partner or a friend of our program by going to our Patreon site. Check that out. And if you're looking for another place to go to worship, we worship at 10 o'clock on Sundays. Check us out at coftv.com on our virtual campus. You can kind of get a peek at us, see if you're interested. We just want you to be in worship in this community someplace.
Amen.
West Monroe is a great place to do it. I highly recommend that. Now, we got a real treat for you as we close out this episode. And after I wrap up here in just a second, each of these guys that have been coming in, we have been taking them in the studio. And Dustin has blessed us with an incredible piece of worship music that he's going to put before you. And so as we wrap up this episode, Lucas has produced this with our team here. And you're going to hear from and enjoy the worship of Dustin Griffith from West Monroe Apostolic. Dustin, thank you for being here on the dock with us today. God bless you. And join us again at the next episode and enjoy this worship piece from Dustin Griffith.
Thank you. In an old run-down apartment house on the wrong side of town, sits a man upon a threadbare couch, not one friend to be found. He heard about a Savior's love and how he died on the tree. And he searched his soul wondering, is that special love for me? Oh, once and for all, he paid my price when he became my sacrifice. He didn't even mind my cost. Just for me, he bore the cross. No greater love you will find. He died for all mankind, once and for all. Oh, he died once for all. Oh, on a hill outside Jerusalem, at a place called Calvary, hung a man between two rugged thieves. Oh, to save a lonely wretch like me. So you search your soul, you're wondering, is this kind of love still true? Just open up your heart, my friend, and it's available to you. Yes, it is. Oh, once and for all, he paid my price when he became my sacrifice. He didn't even mind the cost. Just for me, he bore my cross. No greater love you will find. He died for all mankind, once and for all. Oh, once and for all, he paid my price when he became my sacrifice. He didn't even mind the cost. Just for me, he bore the cross. No greater love you will find. He died for all mankind, once and for all. He died for me and you, once and for